Whatto chaps, I'm Magical Mike and it's pretty close to February again. So let's get to talking about how 2025 went for the channel, and if you're still here from then or want to keep track of things long term, then like and subscribe, check out the channel update playlist and hopefully you enjoy my ramblings. Videos in 2025 were sparse, I'll be the first to admit that. 2024 had 12 videos and 2025 had half of that, a whopping 6. Youch, right? We're not exactly popping off round here all the time, are we? The first video, Quids in Fields of Mystria, got published on the 4th of September. Wait, am I hearing that right? September was the first time that I uploaded that year. Holy crap, what happened? Honestly, good question, and I don't have a very satisfying answer. Something I said in the previous year in review was that I just wanted to play stuff, enjoy things for the sake of having a good time and not feel pressured into making content out of everything. And I meant that. I played quite a few things this year, and the first few months were just that, which resulted in the channel looking totally dead for 8 months. But alright, that's not the whole story. The second unsatisfying reason was heatwaves. Summer really kind of sucked the life out of me. We had at least 5 individual heatwaves over the course of the season, and they were really awkwardly spread out, to the point where I kept questioning if I had time to sit down and properly dedicate to making something or starting a bigger, more involved game, and then being interrupted again and again and again repeatedly by the climate. So I just said screw it, I'll wait until after summer to bother with things. Right, so Fields of Mystria then. Great game, still getting updates by the way since it's still early access, but they're actually making serious headway on it. I haven't been back to play stuff since that video. I think I'll just keep waiting until 1.0 releases and achievements are added so I don't have to replay so much. But I stand by everything that I said at the time. It's a fun farm sim with enough differences to the normal formula to set it apart from other similar games there. The video hasn't done too badly either, sitting at a few hundred views, which is better than most of my stuff normally does, so that's nice. What I think that opened up though was a whole opportunity for cozy game coverage. I've since had publishers get in contact with me for a few games to talk about, which is honestly surprising for such a small channel like mine, but super nice to have it happen. One of these was Strange Antiquities, which I talked about in a recently in video at the end of September. Steam tags this as a mystery investigation puzzle game, as well as a whole load of other things that I feel are kinda silly, but, you know, Steam tags, right? Like cats. I mean, sure it does have a cat in it, but does it deserve a whole genre tag on Steam? Well, regardless, I think the game was a fun distraction for a few days and exactly what it set out to be. My expectations were set and then met, so I'm completely happy with that. I'm honestly pretty tired of things getting overhyped or having their content inflated to the point of wishing that the playthrough ended sooner, and that's quite surprisingly common these days. Strange Antiquities just says, hey, figure out what these weird objects are and check out our puzzles, enjoy the cozy atmosphere, build on the systems as you go, deepen the mechanics and wrap it all up neatly in the end. Pretty neat time playing this one. Liked doing the impromptu video, but low views, less than 100. Oh well. At the end of October I published Recently in Oblivion, after watching quite a bit of the remaster gameplay going on. I was pretty deep into watching a series which eventually spurred me on to wanting to play it myself, but I wasn't going to play the expensive remaster that was full of all the old bugs and loads of new ones, nor did I trust that it would actually run all that well on my system. Also, I already own the original, so I found a super detailed modding guide that led me step by step through getting it all modernised, and away I went. Reign of the Septims is the name of that guide, by the way. I was considering making a video about the setup itself, but I'm not super sure that I want to do that now. I'm kind of undecided. I made myself a druid character and set about re-nostalgia-ing my way through the forests and towns of Cyrodiil, and I had a damn good time doing it. Remaster be damned. I'm perfectly happy with how the old game looks, sounds and tastes. I mean, feels. I was going to explore literally every dungeon in the game, but after finishing all of the West Weald stuff, I realised that there was definitely way too much to go through. Since that video I've done a bit more, played around Anvil and the coast, and have yet to go back and do anything in the east, south of Breville or Leywin, or Cheydinhal and Bruma. Still no Shivering Isles content either. Man, I still, after all these years, still need to go play that. This is also a video sitting at about 70 views as of writing this one, which is surprising to me because you guys watching are a bunch of RPG fans, so I assumed it would be an easily transferable audience. And I've done Oblivion videos before that weren't unpopular, so I don't know. It's fine though, I'm not complaining by any stretch, so don't worry. After that, mid-December brought the BG3 Bard build that I dubbed the Problem Solver. Not a brilliant name, but I've never been good at that, hence my crappy YouTube titles for everything. This is a 30-minute, I hesitate to say summary because that's a lengthy video, but it's information dense and it takes a long time to explain all the reasoning of a Baldur's Gate 3 build. It's basically a bard, cleric, then warlock or wizard multi-class build that's designed to give as many options for skills and spells as possible. There's loads of other builds out there for this exact purpose, and none of them are really super flashy or anything, so they don't make for all that interesting visuals on a video, but even so, I'm not all that thrilled with how this one came out. I was really hoping to get a ton of cool photo mode shots of spellcasting and how awesome all those effects look, but I just couldn't get the camera to work the way I wanted it to. I also couldn't work out how best to show literally building the character without using the level up screen, which took up tons of time in the end. And the character itself fills a role that isn't very flashy, so showing dice rolls or who knows what else wasn't really something I wanted to do either. And with the photo mode idea falling apart, I just kind of threw together a couple of combat examples and a bunch of static spell screenshots. And then several weeks later I remembered that I could just turn off the UI and rotate the camera around while I was mid-combat to achieve what I wanted originally. Damn, really disappointed with myself there, but oh well, live and learn. Still worth talking about that character after finally finishing my last playthrough with it. Views wise, this video did surprisingly well at 450 odd, but nobody had anything to comment on it, which I found a little unusual. Last couple of things were my Guild Wars Reforged bingo game mode videos. That's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? Oh, where do I even start with this? Oh man, what a massive headache, what a huge stress this whole thing turned out to be. I'm still a little bit annoyed about some stuff here, so I'll try not to turn this into too big of a rant, but I think it will anyway. I'm sure most of you guys know what a bingo game mode is, right? It's a super popular thing that you'll find streamers playing in games like the Souls series, Breath of the Wild or other Zelda titles, Hollow Knight, the Pokemon games, Mario Odyssey and who knows what else. You generate a board of random goals and then go head to head with someone else to beat them to most things. It's a very fun game mode to watch players strategize and outthink each other in. I'd watched the Elden Ring Summer GDQ bingo race and it inspired me to write one for Guild Wars. This took a long time trawling through my head and the wiki for tons of ideas to make into mini things to do that wouldn't be too annoying or too long or problematic or some other reason. And after a few days, I had over 100 ideas written up. I then found the lockout.live website allowed for building a whole random grid generator and spent many hours adding them to the site to generate a JSON file that could be shared with anyone so that they could play. This also coincided with the news of Guild Wars Reforged, which was a happy accident, but I figured it would be nice to try and build around that hype. I thought Reforged didn't really add anything for me personally as a veteran of the game with an account that I consider totally finished, and I also thought that many others would be in that same position. Bingo would give those of us like that something to do, some reason to replay parts of the game for a bit. Days went by, which turned into a couple of weeks of refining things, playtesting, and writing a Google Doc for players to understand the game mode, to set it up and to play it themselves. I wrote a video doing the same to hopefully catch some hype, and I handed the whole thing out to a bunch of creators ahead of release so that they could try it out with their audiences. I reckoned it would be fun for them to try and meme around with it for an hour or two at most, and hopefully it generates some kind of hype and audience interaction for them, and maybe some feedback for myself. Sadly, nobody actually did anything with it. Some had good reason, and thanks for your time if you even replied, but some just straight ghosted me, and I don't really appreciate that at all. That bummed me out a lot more than I care to admit. I really don't like that it's so normal to act that way nowadays. By the way, that's a whole other discussion on society and there, let's just not. It has taught me a lesson though, in respecting the value of my own time more. I'm usually very willing to spend a lot of time with things, but if stuff feels like it's not giving me much in return, then I'm going to start to recognise that more from now on. That's more of a reminder for me watching this video back in the future. Anyway, that left me with no choice but to do it myself. I grabbed my mate Xavier and we got to work trying to make a solid example video that showed it being played. Let's just say it took us a few attempts and I was running out of time, and it ended up being a huge hassle for both of us. I cannot overstate my thanks for him helping out the way he did. Super cool of him. Thanks, Xavier. We had misunderstandings, 2 different game knowledge gaps, dodgy audio on my end, lost footage. It was a bit of a nightmare, honestly. But in the end, we now have a video that I am super happy with. I think it's a very fun watch. Sadly, the reaction to Reforged Bingo was severely lacking. I put it out on Boxing Day right after Christmas, right at the apex of hype for Reforged, and right after them adding an official hardcore system to the game, and it quietly landed to about 800 views, and then dropped off a cliff without making any kind of a splash like I'd hoped. Again, 800 views is huge for what I normally get, but I expected some more engagement. My mistake, I guess. My ego got the better of me there, and I shouldn't have built myself up so much and let that happen. I was excited for this huge effort that I'd put into the game, and for what the reception would be like, and it kind of flopped. On Reddit, one person said that they'd tried it with a friend and enjoyed it, to which I was completely thrilled to hear. Awesome. And one other person mentioned some giant stomp tech that I hadn't considered, which was also awesome to hear too, because it was adding merit to the game's whole inner workings. But apart from those 2 comments, nothing. The Reddit thread was dead. There were several other threads that got tons of attention that day, all of which were simple new player questions that could be answered by a simple search on the wiki, or low effort meme and image posts. Safe to say that I was kind of livid about all that, not gonna lie. So much effort went into this, and to have such little reciprocation was absolutely crushing. But oh well, what can you do? So that was that. I uploaded a solo game example a few days later on New Year's Eve to show that it's also possible to play without friends or opponents, and I'm happy with how that one went too. For the effort that that video took, it's done much better than the whole last game setup thing that I did, which is something, at least. I guess it's something that I can randomly fall back on as a way to make some fun content if I ever decide to, but it would still be nice to see other people playing it and trying it out though, so hit me up if you do that, because I do still want to watch. Really, I do. I want to see people play this mode. That's kind of why I made it. It's the whole reason. Anyway though, that is 2025's videos. I'm amazed just how much I had to say there, despite there only being 6, so let's keep this next section maybe a bit shorter. The reason that I made so few things, I just had loads of other stuff to play. I started the year with Forza Horizon 5 and Fields of Mystria. I mentioned Forza last year, and I'm still playing it now every week thanks to the FOMO weekly seasonal events. I'm not keen on that system. I don't like FOMO in games, but I do enjoy driving around in it, so the excuse is okay for now. I might talk about this in a full video eventually, so let's just move on. Forza Horizon 6 just got announced, by the way, and it looks phenomenal. Very excited for that. But I spent quite a bit of the first few months also playing around with the Zelda OOT and Majora's Mask decompilations. Ship of Harkinian and Two Ship to Harkinian respectively. I love these games. I played them both many times, something that I can't say I've done for that many games overall in my life. Pretty much just these, the Souls series and Crash Bandicoot are fairly exclusive members of that list, and maybe FF8 as well. But I've never played any of the PC ports of the old Zeldas until now, and wow, let me tell you that they are incredibly well made. They're smooth, they upscale super nicely, the controls port fluidly to an Xbox controller, you can control the camera with the right stick. Wow. Viewers, you have not enjoyed these older Zeldas in such a way before. Being able to move the full 360 degrees while rotating the camera to just look at stuff is frankly incredibly simple and superbly effective at elevating the experience. The games just feel that much better for it. They also come with randomizers, and you can find forks that allow for multiplayer. Multiplayer OOT. Even better, multiplayer rando OOT. I've never played a rando before this year, but I've watched plenty of ZFG VODs, or ZFG if you want to meme it, and thought it looked fun. And while I can't perform any of the glitches, I still had a blast setting up logic-based randos. I think I played the game over like 3 times in a row, immediately after each other, one of which in multiplayer, and having both characters running around in the same game in real time is so cool. Majora's Mask decomp has improved a lot over the year too, which has been very encouraging to see. I also played a multi-world randomizer for MM with the same friend. This was kind of tough to set up compared to Ship, but a totally different experience. We were able to see each other in-world, but as floating flames, which was a little bit odd. The major draw to this game mode is that it takes the items from both games and jumbles them up between both worlds, meaning that I can potentially find two of the same mask or bow or hookshot or whatever, one for my game and one for my friend's game. Super interesting dynamic because you have to work together to figure out what each person can access and therefore check. I mean, if you've ever watched or played a rando before, you know how they work, but throw items between multiple games and it's suddenly all that much more interesting. I scuffed the setup on this and gave us early moon access though, which gave us an unfortunately silly seed that asked us to go to the moon almost right away for really early items like the bow, Deku and Goron masks, which honestly ruined the logic of the playthrough a little bit until we realised that that was actually a thing. Oh well, something to learn if we ever try that again. But hopefully Ship gets a multi-world fork at some point because Project 64 is such an old and laggy emulator at this point. After playing those, I finally finished up my BG3 Dark Urge playthrough that was on hiatus for a while. Strongly recommend playing the Urge if you haven't already. Both resist and commit styles are really interesting with how much they add or change the game. I resisted, of course, and loved the results. Though it is also fun to go back after beating it, reload an old save and do all the super evil stuff too. That ending is dark, man. Act 3 is still a bit of a tough thing to play through for me. It's not that bad or anything, but the sudden change of pace is a little bit hard to adjust to. Next up was a random visit to Valheim. Why? I'm not sure. I just had stumbled on watching someone play a bit of it again and decided that I too could fancy a bit of time in the 10th world. So I modded it up with a bunch of quality of life features, a whole load of farming mods, peaceful enemy stuff, removed the raid mechanic, upped resource gathering rates, and I headed on in. I built a couple of silly little homesteads, a neat little farm, an overly complex portal tower, got a boat and sailed off to find the merchant and some new building lands in other biomes. I never found any of the merchants. I sailed for a few hours around all the islands that I could find. I fixed up a couple of stone towers with some wooden patches, shot a quick video to show some friends what I was doing, and then called it a day and didn't log back in. Such is my relationship with Valheim. Funnily enough, I'm into watching some Minecraft videos at the moment and have a small similar itch to do the same in that game. Probably won't happen though, let's be honest. During the summer, I did manage to find myself settling on something that takes very little time and attention. Pokemon. I don't really ever play Pokemon games much, frankly at all, but I'd never played the Heart Gold and Soul Silver remakes, so I just kind of picked those up and jumped in. I ended up playing both of them, actually, but Silver was my first. Turns out there's tons more to these remakes than I knew about, and I ended up putting a ludicrous amount of time into both of them over the course of a few months. This is another one that I don't want to talk about too much right now, because I might do a full video, but don't hold me to that. Some dodgy stuff in the Gen 2 games. The level curve is stupid for one thing, and the poke variety is awful for most of the game, but I mostly had a good time with these. After the many random heatwaves had stopped, I finally managed to commit to Elden Ring. At some point in this video you'll be watching my fight against Melania, but it might be cut up or interrupted, and if you want to watch the raw version of that, then I have an unlisted video that you can find linked somewhere around here. What a game though. Absolutely glued me to it from start to finish. Easily Game of the Year material, and I'm glad that it won that accolade. It is a game that deserves its own video dedicated, but I just wanted to focus on enjoying the first playthrough, so it's not planned content yet. I played through as a strength, faith, paladin style character. I never wore a helmet, I collected all the cool knight armor sets for maximum fashion, and explored every little possible thing. Incredible stuff. I had a few little troubles with it. I'm not sure how I feel about the open world portion, and every new open map area that I got to was initially more of an overwhelmed response rather than an excited one, but the basic gameplay is so damn solid that you soon forget and just enjoy the time spent. If you want to know how my first playthrough went, I've actually been posting about it on Blue Sky since the start, so you can find my silly little story over there with all the screenshots. I have like 500 total screenshots of the game because it's so gorgeous, but the Blue Sky stuff summarises it much better, so go follow me over there for stuff like that. After resisting the urge to play a second character immediately, I found the Harbour Masters had also decompiled Star Fox 64, or Lilac Wars You and Me, so I gave that a go too. More nostalgia, played the heck out of that as a kid, and nothing has changed since while trying this version. There's a ton of quality of life settings built into all of these ports by the way as well, which really makes them tons better to play, like adding an auto fire button in Star Fox instead of asking you to spam the A button the whole game. Good, optional changes, and lots of them. At the time of writing this script, they also, just a few hours ago, released a Mario 64 decomp too, which sounds exciting to actually go try that eventually, though I'm not the biggest fan of that game. Don't at me, it aged, man. Mario 64 is... Don't pretend that collecting 100 coins on all of those stages is actually fun, because, well, I just don't think it is. Anyway, since I was on that trend, I also discovered a Perfect Dark decomp. Mouse control in that game? Amazing. I never was all that good at it as a kid, but we'd spend so much time messing around in the versus mode against weird bot versions with weird weapon sets. Anyone else have an N-bomb, yes that is a weapon name, and poison knife setup to see how laggy you could make the console? Or was that just me? This time though, I've been able to actually play through on Perfect Agent difficulty, which is something that I never thought I'd be able to do. There is some trial and error, thanks to objectives not being the clearest thing ever, but overall, levels are short and snappy, and it's just fun to be able to aim at stuff properly now. I had the exact same feeling when Turok got a PC port. Man, the N64 was not a good platform for shooters. Why were they ever a thing? Why was GoldenEye so popular? We just didn't know any better at the time. And finally I picked up Path of Exile 2. I wasn't going to start this game until it went free to play, but a friend gifted it to me, so I'm in earlier than I expected. Kinda surprised it isn't free to play yet though. Not sure how much I want to talk about this either, because I'm not even halfway into Act 4 yet. I'm just leveling super slowly as a bear druid and enjoying all the obvious skills. Not in the footage here, but I've since got the Rampage skill, and holy crap, it's made a mockery out of the Act 3 boss. He died in seconds compared to the minutes the Act 2 guy stood up to me for. Fun game. I didn't get all that into the original. I didn't love the skill gems in gear socket system, so that's much nicer in the sequel, but I also don't plan on paying a lot of attention to it overall. I kinda just enjoy ARPGs as a background casual thing to play. Maybe I'll have some stronger feelings after grinding some endgame. I hear players aren't very happy about the state of that, but I just don't know yet. And that's about it for games not getting videos. I sort of promised more Skyrim builds, but I didn't make any progress on that. I still have the next one sort of half-baked recorded already, and just didn't do it yet. Anyway, other things to mention. Streaming is still up in the air, kind of back burner. Nah, I don't plan on it. Twitch is really an annoying platform at this point to use at the moment. There's only a small few streamers that I even watch there anymore, and adverts have ruined the whole experience, just constantly interrupting things or forcing pre-rolls, so finding new streamers becomes a total waste of time. Do I want to sit through a minute or two of adverts to find out if the random stream that I just clicked on is any good? Sometimes I have actually done that, only to find the person is AFK. Wow, great stuff. Thanks, Twitch. The site also enforced a 100-hour saved VOD limit this year, which forced me to delete a massive amount of old streams. I had no intention of rewatching them anyway, but it still sucks to lose those memories regardless. I had to get rid of all our old Time D&D sessions and my Pathfinder Kingmaker playthrough. Only a while after doing so did I remember that I'd had a conversation with Amelia Tyler in chat about her voicing Nyrissa during one of those VODs, and now that clip is gone forever. Quite annoyed at myself for losing that. Long story short, Twitch sucks a lot right now. Last thing to mention real quick is that I swapped donation link stuff to Ko-Fi, or Coffee I think you're supposed to say it as. It's just a simpler, cleaner looking link and service. So there's that, instead of the Streamlabs one I was using before, and instead of the weird pressure of using Patreon for recurring subscriptions. So if you do find yourself feeling generous out of nowhere, then the option's there, and cheers for that. Now that's properly everything. I've also picked up yet another Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough at the start of 2026 to try out those patch 8 subclasses. It's already been a blast and I'm only level 4. And now you're up to speed, and it's only taken me this long in this video to go over all of that stuff. Cool, amazing how much I can end up talking about what seemed like not much to begin with. 6 videos be damned, if I end up spending this much time yapping about them, then I should be keeping the numbers down. Same plan for this year, just make stuff that I want to, and focus on enjoying games as a hobby for now. I have ideas for Guild Wars videos, I have a Forza Horizon thing written, I've got thoughts on other essay-ish topics to cover. Well, you'll just have to subscribe and see if any of that stuff turns up. Cheers for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.